Do you remember from your textbooks, guys? You already completed the chapter, right? LED, is it ohmic or non-ohmic? Don't put it in the chat window. Speak to me. I'm away from my computer right now. Yeah, I have
Non-ohmic.
Amrit. Yeah, non-ohmic. You're already aware of that. So my next question: when you plot V and I graph, or I on the y-axis, V on the x-axis, when you do that graph, what do you think will happen? Is it a linear or non-linear? Speak up. Linear or non-linear?
Non-linear.
Right, right. So you already know it. I mean, I also told it. I leaked it already. I just again was checking your Gajini brains. How far you remember our like half an hour back discussion. All right. Are you all ready with your books? Shall we get the results?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. I'm switching on. And you don't see anything because ammeter is turned off. Since it is turned off, even though battery is on, there is no power supply anywhere. So first let's turn on our ammeter. And if you remember, the best way, if you don't know where your result will be obtained, always start with the lowest possible one. You can already see something over there, right? You're able to see the light. LED bulb is actually glowing right now. And what I would suggest is whenever you use ammeters, even the traditional ones or digital ones, don't prefer this 2000 micros. The reason is it's too unstable. It's extremely small value. So my suggestion, go with 20 milli instead of 2000 micros. So this is a little bit better version. Or but if you're doing electromagnetism experiments, there the currents that are produced are very, very small, extremely small. They compulsorily you need to go with microamperes. But for general electricity, you can use milliamperes or amperes. Don't write it. I hope you did not write this 2.26 or whatever. The reason is we still haven't switched on our voltmeter. Now, voltmeter, again, the same strategy, start with the lowest. So if you remember, we always start with the lowest. Lowest is 200 millivolts. It's on the left. All right. So whenever we see this error, it's an error. It means overloading error. Or in other way, what it means is this 200 milli is not correct. There is more voltage or more potential difference applied. So what we have to do, simply increase the scale to 2000 milli. Even now we are seeing the same error. And now please observe 20, whenever I set it to 20 volts, I'm getting a proper value. Now see this fun part, guys. Here, what these readings mean is if I am supplying 2.31 volts, the current that I'm able to generate or the current that is flowing right now in the circuit is 2.25 milliamperes. Did you hear that? Let me change the units, make it consistent, and then it will be clear to you. What it means is the energy I'm supplying is 2300 millivolts, and the current I'm getting is only 2 milliamperes. Lot of energy, very little bit of current. Is it high resistance or low resistance? What do you think it is? Lots of energy. You're using, let's say,
High resistance.
exactly, high resistance. Imagine you have a cricket bat with you and you tried your best to hit a ball and the ball never crossed the wickets. Imagine like that. Forget about 4 or 6. It is still over there. That's what is happening. Enormous amount of energy, and here nothing is happening. Okay. So LED bulbs are generally high resistance. Why are they high resistance? I mean, why do you see that high resistance? The reason is whatever electric current you have in that LED bulb, that means electrons are trying to run forward, run a lot. But all that electrical energy or the kinetic energy of the electrons, it's getting converted to light energy. All that light, why are we getting? It's because of conversion of kinetic energy, the movement energy of electrons into light energy. So most of the energy is converted. So electrons cannot move fast. They're moving very slow because all their energy is taken away. So that's the reason you have LED bulbs as high resistance. Televisions are high resistance because all the energy is converted to light energy again. Okay, think about the logical part. I don't have to tell all this to you in the sense if we go with the textbook pattern, but I am telling you so that you can improve the way you think. That's the reason. I hope you have your first result. your V, the voltmeter side or the potential difference side, set the units to volts. All the values will be getting in volts, and ammeter, all the values will be getting in milliamperes. Okay. So first result, 2.31 volts, 2.27 milliamperes. Please write it. 2.31 volts and 2.26 for the current side, milliamperes. Now, let's go ahead. I want to have more results to investigate. With one result, I would never have straight line or curved line. I need more points. So for my second point or the third point, I'm increasing the battery supply. I just increased it and you have new results. Here, if you observe, the voltage only doubled, but here the current has become 6 times. Okay, when you see numbers, you can actually have a logic inside your brain what is happening to those numbers. First result was around 2.3 volts. Now it is 4.5. So the voltage has doubled, but the current from 2.25, it has gone to 12. The current has increased 6 times. Without plotting a graph, we can know that it is a non-ohmic conductor. Double increase in voltage, 6 times increase in current. Okay, write these values. 4.54 volts, and the current you are getting is 12.22 milliamperes. Let's have two more. Okay, the next one, if you observe, our ammeter is showing an error. Why? Because the scale over here is 20 volts, guys. That means the reading is greater than 20 milliamperes. So the scale is 20 milliamperes. So it has exceeded 20. So I'm increasing it to 200 milliamperes. And there it goes. It's greater than 20. That's why we saw an error. Now please write the third result. 6.49 volts and 21.3 milliamperes. One more before we plot it and analyze why LED has non-linearity. And I have a wonderful news for you before we actually speak about the graph. Amazing news. You'll jump out of your chair when I tell you that news. Okay. So please write this first one. 8.42 volts on the volt side and 30.4 or 30.5. You can take any of those. It's actually fluctuating between 30.4 and 30.5. Let's take 30.5 milliamperes as the current. So that's it. And you can see the LED glowing a little more brightly than before. So that was the LED brightness. It has increased quite a bit actually. So you're supplying more energy. So naturally, more kinetic energy is converted to light and it's glowing a little brighter. All right. So let's move on to a graph. And I told you some good news, right? So that amazing news is you will have a break from me. You don't have to see my face tomorrow, day after tomorrow. I have to travel. So, but from I think January 1st, we can continue. I think we'll need 1.5 days or 3 hours essentially after today's session to complete our electricity syllabus. And if you're not fed up, we can again meet for some other topic in the future. All right. So before I switch on to my laptop, enjoy this news of no seeing Bhanu Prakash for 2 days. All right. I hope some of you did not doze off into sleep in this like 2 minutes break. We are at 4:52. I think we can plot this graph and then we can have our break, the regular break. So let's move on to a graph. I need one of you to give me those values, guys, just like yesterday. I'm opening my Excel sheet. All right, so now I'll move on to that LED bulb. Yeah, so please, one of you tell me the results. Yes.
Sir,
Uh,
first,
your name,
first result,
who is it?
Niyati.
Okay, yes, Niyati, go on.
2.31 volts.
So by the way, our first results are always 0, 0. Without battery, no potential difference, no current. That is this origin point that you're seeing on the graph. Okay. Now, yeah, our second result or whatever you have written first, 2.32,
2.31 volts.
2.31 volts. And what was the current?
2.27 milliamperes.
2.27 milliamperes. Now, please check this out. Everyone, please observe over here. Niyati, I need like few seconds for from you. Just wait so that I could explain what happened with these values. Okay, so these were our values. Our voltmeter value is in volts, 2.31 volts. So that's why I did not do any conversion over here. Okay, but our ammeter value was in milliamperes. So I need to convert it into amperes. So that's why I divided the result with 1000. So 2.27 amperes is nothing but 0.00227 milliamperes. All right. So please go on the other values, Niyati.
4.54 volts.
4.54 volts.
12.22 milliamperes.
All right, 12.22. There's a drastic jump in current if you observe. Okay, next one.
6.49 volts.
6.49 volts.
2.3 milliamperes.
It was 21.3. Niyati, 21.3 milliamperes.
21.3.
We had one more, I think.
8.42 volts.
8.42 volts.
30.5 milliamperes.
30.5 milliamperes. All right, so that was the values, and let's look at the graph. So you can see the graph, clear non-linearity. Let's focus on the graph for a few seconds. I want to talk about resistance within this graph. Right. Please observe this graph very carefully. Okay, so it's clear non-linearity. That means it's a non-ohmic conductor. But now let's look at resistance. If it's a single straight line, then what it means is the resistance is constant everywhere. But if you observe the graph over here, if you observe, let's imagine this point, okay, around 2 volts. When you're supplying 2 volts, the amount of current that is obtained is very, very small. That means the initial portion, when we started the activity, when the bulb was glowing for the first time, we had to supply a lot of energy, but the current was smaller, very small. That means initially it was a high resistance region, and later the resistance has decreased, and later on, the resistance has further decreased. So that is what this graph is telling. Initial resistance is high because of that low. I mean, you can see this line is very close to the x-axis. Whatever you're seeing here, very close to the x-axis, that means high resistance. Later over here, the resistance has changed, it has decreased, and there is further decrease. If we keep on doing this activity, at some point, this particular line would actually go a little straighter towards the top. It will be the lowest resistance possible. Okay, so that's about non-linearity and LED bulb. Once we come back from the break, we need to discuss what's happening inside the LED to make it non-linear. Why are the electrons not moving steadily? Why is there a lot of disturbance within that LED? We'll analyze that, and then we'll move on to the next concepts. So let's go ahead with the break. Right now, the time is 4:56. Let's meet back at 5:05, 5:06. I'll start at 5:06. Go on, guys. Enjoy your break. Walk around.
So Gayatri, you are hiding you are hiding. Gayatri, I want to see you.
All right, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Now, what we were trying to say is silicon makes 4 bonds, but if you add an impurity which could make only 3 bonds, there is a hole over here. What a hole means is simple. Lack of an electron itself is called a hole. Since electrons are negatively charged, we can say holes are positively charged. Lack of negative, we are calling it positive. So in the huge silicon structure, if there are lots of borons, lots of holes will be there. These holes are actually the charge carriers. So what happens is, guys, when you supply electric current, imagine because of that energy, let's say this particular silicon electron, whatever the electron you're seeing, it will jump over here. From this location, there's a good chance because of the energy supplied, it might jump over here. So when it jumps, a new hole will be formed at this location. Okay, and similarly from another location, another electron would jump over here, and a new hole will be formed at that new location. This movement of the hole, the relative movement of the hole, we call it as movement of the positive charge. Okay, so that's about the holes, the concept of holes for a p-type semiconductor. And to just summarize, what's happening is when you add an atom or an element which has less number of electrons to contribute, you get holes. So let's look at the reverse concept. The reverse concept is as simple as the initial one. In this case, what we are doing is the same silicon structure is everywhere. You have the same silicon structure with all 4 electrons bonded, but you have an impurity which is phosphorus. Phosphorus has 5 electrons to contribute. So each phosphorus is giving 1 electron to each silicon. So 4 electrons are given to silicons, but there's an extra electron which is free to roam around like a metal. Metal atoms has a lot of free electrons. So when you add phosphorus impurity, you have excess number of electrons. Since excess number of electrons are there, there are a lot of negative charges around, and that negative charge, so we call it as an N-type semiconductor. Okay, lots of electrons, an N-type semiconductor. Shortage of electrons, we call it a P-type semiconductor. Guys, by the way, you don't have to remember anything that I'm saying. Try to get the logic, and in the future when you face this, it will become easy for you. Okay, so now let's move towards what's happening over here. Now when you combine this P-type semiconductor and N-type semiconductor, observe this particular structure over here. So that's an LED, typical LED. You have a P-N-type junction diode. We call it a junction diode because di means 2. 2 semiconductors, that's why it's called a diode, light emitting diode. Okay, if you have 3 of them, we call it a triode. And this particular location is where they are joined, the P-type and N-type. Now, when you supply electric current, let's look in terms of electrons, guys. Okay, try to remember our old discussions. We already know electric current is from battery positive to battery negative, but electrons move from battery negative to battery positive. Electrons always move from negative to positive. So there will be lot of electrons accumulated over here. As soon as you supply electric current in this fashion, that means when I say fashion, positive of the battery, observe this, positive of the battery connected to the P-type and negative of the battery connected to N-type. We call it forward biasing. Don't worry about the name. When you connect it like that, lot of electrons get accumulated over here. And another thing that happens is whatever electrons were available here, they just run towards this side. Electrons start moving over here. Now please observe what happens. When you have lot of electrons here, check it out. You have lots of electrons over here because of the wire. Some of the electrons that are inside, the orange color balls are the electrons. They start to move in this fashion. Okay, they start to move exactly in this direction because there are electrons from the outside, and all those electrons are essentially repelling electrons that are inside. So electrons tend to move towards the center. What happens is initially at this junction or at this barrier, what we call it a depletion region. That barrier is, think of it like this. When you started your experiment or when you try to send energy, lot of energy is required to push electrons from one side to the other. If you want to push electrons, if you want electrons to travel this side, because of this physical barrier, you need to supply lot of energy. So even after supplying lot of energy, very few electrons travel. So that's why that particular region is a high resistance region, and you see graph in this fashion. Graph is over here like this because the depletion region is not allowing electrons to flow through. But when you continue, when you push more energy, that means if you add more batteries, 2 batteries, 3 batteries, and so on, more and more energy will be there. Electrons will be further pushed. Whatever electrons you have, they'll be moving much more faster, and this depletion region effect will decrease. During this time, more electrons will start to flow, and that's where you're actually seeing the other picture, where you'll see a better graph, and that graph you're observing over here. Okay, so this is the graph. When you supply more energy, this depletion region is decreasing, and more electrons will tend to flow through that region, and they'll travel to the other side. And at that particular location, you're seeing the graph that curvature has reduced quite a bit. Okay, as you can see here, this curvature has reduced quite a bit because these are relatively low resistance region. You keep on doing it, this graph will continue further, and the electrons can move really fast over there. Now you understand the reason why materials are non-linear. Non-linearity because there are some structural problems inside those materials that are causing the non-linearity. In pure metals, such things will never happen. Electrons will always move in a steady fashion. You supply more energy, they travel faster, and all the electrons travel faster. You supply less energy, electrons travel slower in a steady fashion. But here the steadiness is not there. And that's the reason you have non-linearity for an LED bulb. All right. Any questions before we move on? I know this is a little bit heavy. Don't worry if you did not grasp everything. My purpose is not, or my aim is not to give everything possible to you. I wanted to give some logic to you because our textbook doesn't give logic. They don't give reasons why all these are happening. So at least I wanted you to know a little bit more than usual. Okay. Any questions? I have, okay, good. Amrit says, understood. But I can't take only Amrit's word, right? Amrit, he always is pushing it forward. Very good. But what about others? I need your answers also. If you have any questions, ask me. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next activity where we'll try to understand what happens when we increase the temperature of a substance. Will it be linear? Will it be non-linear? Will it be ohmic? Will it be non-ohmic? What's happening inside? All that I want to ask you, actually. All that we'll be discussing a little more. Okay, no questions, right? All right, so let's move on. Now we are going to work with resistance. What are the factors that affect resistance? Let me also check the time.